Hi, my name is Steven and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking about recognizing when you might be wrong, lessons to be aware of your mistakes. In a world where information is constantly evolving and the sources of truth might not be so simple, making a mistake might happen. So it's essential to possess the skill to be able to determine when you might be wrong, because this is one of the most valuable skills that we can learn in life. When we are wrong and when we should be able to course correct for that. And this is one of the most valuable skills to inherit, to be able to be humble, be wrong, and then course correct for that. The ability to acknowledge and correct our errors is a huge step towards our personal growth and development. It fosters better decision making and healthier relationships among your peers. Throughout my life, I've encountered many instances where I was just plain wrong. With the passage of time and accumulation of the experiences, I've learned to try to see my errors before I make them, and take proactive steps to reduce errors and mistakes wherever possible. And I've developed methods and strategies to help me to course correct before I make that mistake. While my process is by no means foolproof, it has allowed me to make less mistakes and errors overall in life. And when I do make those errors, I'm more humble about them. So here are some signs I look out for when I'm on the verge of making a mistake. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about my background, ways that I might be wrong, and my general thoughts. And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends, hit that notification bell if you like this content. And let's go. Nobody is perfect in life. Everyone just goes around and tries to be the best that they can. And the best of us can be humble and recognize when we are in error and need to course correct. Because at the end of the day, there's just so many positions that one can take in life, and nobody really has the correct answer to it all. We have to use the information available to us and make the best decision at the time. But that does mean that on occasion, we might be mistaken about something that we strongly believe in. And once you do recognize that error, course correct so we don't make that error again in the future. Through this exercise, we also need to overcome our own internal biases to make that error in the first place. And make sure we do the due diligence to have all the available information to us next time around. Throughout my life, I've been straight up embarrassed when I told people the wrong things and got flamed for it. I've been in situations where I didn't have all the information available and I looked like a fool when I tried to affirm my position on it. It was usually because I was lazy and I didn't want to go through the hard work of verifying that truth. Going through these painful experiences multiple times, I provided myself with some guardrails to prevent it for the future. And make sure that even if I'm on the wrong path, I can identify potential problems with that, so that I can also course correct if I'm on the wrong path. This isn't a perfect system, but at least I can have the tools to recognize when I am wrong. So here's how I recognize when I might be wrong. Number 1, gut check. A gut check is an invaluable tool to me to help me assess whether I'm wrong or not. It involves tuning into your intuition and emotional reaction about something, because a sudden discomfort or unease might point you in a direction that you might be wrong. By heeding to your own cues that your body's giving you, you might be able to recognize you're making a mistake. And you can proactively use this to figure out what errors that you might be making. Sometimes we just know something isn't quite right. We can feel it. This is less objective and factual based and more subjective based on your personality. There are a few things in life that I'm certain of. The rest are really a gut check or a feel or an intuition that I might have. Over time, my intuition about whether I'm making a mistake or not builds up and I start to recognize it before I make that mistake. Your gut check can be built on experiences, as in the case of me. Or you can also have the intuition that something you might be doing might be wrong in the first place. It's hard to explain exactly what you feel because everyone behaves differently. But this is a good tool for me when I need to assess something and I don't have other evidence backing it which way or another. A gut feel is something very personal and is different for everyone, but it's a tool that I use to gauge if something is on the right path or not. And it's usually something I don't have a lot of information to go on, so I have to make a quicker decision. So check that gut first if you think you might be wrong about something. Number 2, listen to feedback. Listening to other people's feedback is a powerful tool to assess whether or not you're making a mistake. Constructive criticisms and alternative viewpoints can give you a valuable mirror to assess your situation and help you to reflect on potential errors that you might be making in the process. But this assumes that you're open to other people's feedback, because then you can objectively assess the situation and course correct if needed. And ultimately, this is going to inform your decision-making process even better. Knowing when to listen is a key sometimes to understand when you might be wrong. Because we can definitely be tunnel vision sometimes and get wrapped up in our own world and ignore other people's advices. And if we do that, it gets hard for us to check ourselves and realize that we might be making a mistake. When I've asked people for feedback, they've always given me something that I hadn't considered before. And they'll absolutely let me know if I'm on the wrong path of something, or at least they have multiple questions about it. Most of the time, I just need to open my ears to accept their opinions of the situation. I utilize this a lot when I'm making a big decision or a decision that has a lot of uncertainty in life. I want to make sure that I don't make a mistake, or at least get it in front of other people's eyes so that they can ensure that I'm not making that mistake. In effect, I'm using other people as gut checks. When you listen and take other people's advice, you might have a powerful tool to avoid making the mistake yourself. So listen to that feedback of others to realize that you might be making a mistake. Number 3, admit uncertainty. Admit uncertainty is a key step to recognizing that you might be wrong about something. You recognize the limit of your knowledge and avoids the trap of being overconfident in something. By embracing uncertainty, you become more open to embracing additional information, and it can help you to make a more well-informed decision based on various inputs. Almost nothing in life is 100% certain, and things are changing all the time. When we admit uncertainty, we tell ourselves that we are okay with more information coming to us. And that information will ultimately help us to make a more informed decision in our lives. Just the possibility of uncertainty is a key way to recognize that we might be wrong about something. For most things in my life, uncertainty is just a fact of life. My life is mainly about making the best possible decision with limited information. And sometimes those imperfect information causes me to make a wrong decision. I just embrace that uncertainty will just be a part of my life and change is ever constant. And sometimes at the end of the day, we will just be wrong or misguided at some point in our lives. When you admit uncertainty in life, you go away from black and white thinking. And you move towards wanting to understand more rather than strengthening your core position, and keeps you away from being attacked or wanting to defend your position to the end. So when you're admitting uncertainty, you're basically keeping neutral to the possibility of more information, and that can help you recognize when you might be making a mistake. And number 4, comparing different sources. Comparing information from different sources is fundamental to recognize when you might be wrong. Taking in multiple information guards against the risk that one information might be untruthful. When you have multiple independent sources pointing you in the right direction, you're most likely going to get a better answer. And any discrepancies that you might find just might point to you needing to seek more information. This step is one of the most hardest to actually implement because it requires a lot of work on your part. But when the stakes are high in any decision that you're making, this is a crucial step. Because if you're wrong or you make a mistake, you might have drastic consequences due to it. Many people skip this step out of laziness or ego because they think they might be right. But the end result is that they might get blindsided because they didn't anticipate the mistake that they're making. Or they defend their position until it's untenable and they've lost completely. So comparing different sources is ultimately about making the most informed decision with the information that you have available to you. You will never have 100% perfect information to base your decision off of, but this is a start. Because the last thing you want to do is have one source of information and have that information be false. So be informed from different sources to help you avoid making a mistake or being wrong. So here are my general thoughts about recognizing when you might be wrong. Admitting you're wrong about something is always hard to do. It requires us to be open to judgment and call into question all the past mistakes we've made. For some, it can be the end of the world, but for others, it's just another day. In the past, I felt that my mistakes were the end of my world, but I transitioned into just another day, another mistake. I really had to accept that I'm flawed and that I make imperfect decisions based on imperfect information. I'm only as good as the information that are provided to me and that I seek out. So try not to be too hard on yourself when you figure out that you're wrong about something. And know that this is just another process to get better at life. We are always learning as we age, and we build upon that experiences over time. It's okay to be wrong, and that's just part of learning the lessons of our past. We just have to be as humble as possible when we're going through life and making those mistakes. So those are some of the things that I do to recognize when I might be wrong about something. The ability to recognize when you're wrong is a vital skill to have in life. It not only helps us in our personal growth and development, but also in effective decision making. Remember that recognizing you're wrong is a sign of intellectual maturity and also self-awareness. And it's a skill that you can absolutely hone in over time and get better at. By recognizing when we might be on the verge of making a mistake, we can course correct for the future and better ourselves for the next time. And just be more open to the world and accommodating of other situations. When we make that mistake, we are just more open to the world the next time around. In the past, I've been wrong on many occasions, but I survived it all. And at the end of the day, I used my mistakes as a springboard to leap on to a better version of myself to prevent making those mistakes again. It gave me the power and experience to avoid those mistakes in the first place. So I hope you took away something from this video to help you to understand when you might be on the verge of making a mistake. So thank you for watching. Please leave a comment down below on what was one mistake that you made and what lesson did you take away from it. And I'll see you next time.